What I'm going to do for my Christmas Eve cast on. I'm finally going to actually do Christmas Eve cast on this year. I usually just kind of follow along. But I've downloaded Danny's 'Twas the Night Before Christmas socks, and I'm looking for things I have that would look good. And if I don't need to use this one filling in my Sunset Highway, that is the one I'm going to use. Okay, I'm pretty much caught up now on Vlogmas. I worked on 17 and 18 yesterday. I'm fixing to upload it, so I don't even have to work on it today. And today, later this evening, I'll work on yesterday. And I'll be like normal people do Vlogmas. And I'm excited that that's pretty much caught up, because as we get nearer to Christmas, I knew this would be impossible, and I figured I'll have to stop early, but I may not have to stop. I don't even know when everyone stops. Is it on Christmas Day? I'm certainly not going to be, I don't think I'd be vlogging on Christmas Day. I did very little. I uploaded things yesterday, and my computer said the startup disk is full, which is, you know, the death knell for my computer. We do have a new computer ordered. We're just waiting for it to arrive. I didn't do much on the sleeve because I wanted the computer freed up for my son to use. Shh. Dogs. Hey. Shh. Oh, they eat and then they go crazy, getting frisky. Fighting and stuff. Not real fighting. Anyway, I wanted to free the computer up for him. So, I mean, the trash wouldn't even empty. It's so locked up. So my husband and I spent time on that, and it's kind of like our part-time job. And then I did nothing hardly on this. I'm an inch away from finishing the first sleeve for my son-in-law's Cobblestone pullover. I know I can do the other sleeve today. I might even be able to do that extra inch on the body and attach them all. And if I can get that far, I am positive I can finish this before Christmas, have it blocking and drying for Christmas. And then it can be wet on Christmas Day as long as he can try it on before they leave to go back home after the holiday. So while I'm working on these sleeves, the brown sleeves, I will be catching up on Vlogmas from other people. It's hard when they're brown. It's kind of boring, but it's good for TV watching. And I can read while I do it. Right now I'm reading Oathbringer by Sanderson. It's a third book in his Stormlight Archive series. It's good, but the second book, Words of Radiance, was really good. So I don't know that I like it as much, but I do understand that stories ebb and flow. You know, you have to step back and kind of set things up for the next big thing that's going to happen, and this might be that type of thing. I usually read science fiction or fantasy at night before I go to sleep. I find that I can really relax, my brain turns off, and I go to sleep faster. If I read nonfiction, I won't. I'll stay up and think. But when it's something that's escapist, like science fiction, I can relax and drop off quickly. I have a lot of trouble sleeping some nights. Like I had a migraine last night. My neck hurt and I had nausea with it, and it was so hard to get to sleep. I woke up 100 times probably, and I have a little stand that's cushy, and I put it on my chest, set my Kindle on it, and I read, and then I drop back off. It's over the years I used to not read, and I would lay there for hours. That never happens now. I'm up a lot, but I get off the chair. Oh, she's being bad. She's clawing her way around the chair. Leather. I didn't think cats liked to claw leather, but apparently they do. I wish you could see. the freaking circus that's happening right by my feet. It's nuts. So we ate, let's go crazy. Let's mount everything. Let's claw our way all over everything. Oh my gosh. Okay. So when I read anything but science fiction, I tend to stay away. I don't just read science fiction. I've read some other things too, but I tend to lean toward it because that's what I enjoy. My husband's doing this challenge. He read about it, and I think he's going to try 100 books in a year. I don't know if he'll get 100 read, but he's doing Audible, so he gets a lot more read than if he were just reading. He'll read like while he's working out or working on a project or something. He might listen to it while he's at work. I don't know. I don't see how he could do that. But some of the things like he's reading, I'm thinking, how do you work out to that? Like, I work out. If I'm walking, I can listen to anything. But if I'm trying to run at a pace, if I'm doing something martial arts with a heavy bag, you need music that kind of pumps you up, keeps you going. And I'm thinking, The Wind in the Willows for bike sprints? I don't get that. I can't really see that, but it's working for him. So I'm not like doing a reading challenge. When I finish a book, I start another. I'm always reading something. I started The Passage, that series by Justin Cronin, and it was good. I didn't think I would. Vampire Virus sounded silly, but I really liked the first book. And the second book, the first portion of it, I was so into it. That kept me awake. I had to stay awake and see what happened. But I've set it aside. It's like an end to a portion came. It was a good place to set it aside to read this Oathbringer. I wanted to read it when my daughter was reading it, so we could talk about it together. And then I'll get back to The Passage, the second book. And then there's a third. I heard it's not as great, but whatever. I'll read all of them. That was pretty good too. So I looked up a couple of years ago. I couldn't think of what to read at night, and I looked up the top 100 science fiction books of all time, or 50 top books. And I got some good ideas, and I've read several of them. I can't think of the name of the Dan Simmons series with the gates. This is the problem with reading things at night. And just as I get older, I don't retain the info so well. The Dan Simmons books were good. Hyperion, the Hyperion series. The first book was so good. The backstories on everybody was interesting. It was great. It was one of those books, kind of like the Game of Thrones books. A new chapter starts and you're like, oh, but I really wanted to hear more about so-and-so in the last chapter. Oh, well, I'll read about this character. And then by the time that chapter ends, you're like, more, I want more. I've got to stop and read about that other person. That's how the first Dan Simmons book was. But I read those. They were good. I didn't love the end of the series so much. That first book was great, though. I thought it was so well written. And I read Do Androids Dream of Electric Sheep? That was good. And then when Blade Runner, the second movie, came out, that's what it's based on, that book. I thought, oh, they're going to stick to the book. I'd really like to see them do something similar to the book. Because, the Harrison Ford version back in the 80s, it was cool. I was a kid. I thought it was cool. I loved anything Harrison Ford did. He was the top for me. But it really didn't follow the book. This new one, it was filmed great. I get it. Oh, she could see her scurry away. I think she really likes doing this little exchange where she claws something and watches and waits for me to pull out the sacks and shake them. Abuse by Walmart sack. Anyway, I don't know what I was saying. Oh, let me get this. Do Androids Dream of Electric Sheep? I'm grabbing something under the end table here. That book was really good. It's kind of cerebral. It's not the action-packed thing you would expect. The new movie did contemplate some of the questions, about humanity, what makes humanity, that the series did. But I got the novel, the graphic novel. It's actually comics. and these aren't even all of them. This is like half of them. For my husband one year for Christmas. And they follow the book exactly. They do not stray from it. It's word for word the book, but it's just got a graphic element added. We tried to read it together, and like I would sit in front of him and he would hold it like we used to. We used to read graphic novels together. And it was impossible. You know, we're both over 40, and so we're like, one of us needs it here and one of us needs it here, and I finally just said, we'll have to read it separately. So I'd already read the novel, I loved it, and still waiting for someone to, maybe this graphic novels are as good as it's going to get. I'm okay with a movie not being made for every single book that comes out. I need to read those though. Anyway, it wasn't a challenge, but it's the closest thing. Just reading some of the great works of science fiction. I don't really have a challenge for 2018. I'm going to try and do a podcast. That will be challenging enough, I think, to keep the blog going. I want to take more pictures. I just want to be a little more creative than I was. I think actually, as I'm knitting on the brown sleeves, I've been considering what I want to do that's more fun than sleeves. I think I want to do the Christmas Eve cast on. I saw that Danny released her new pattern, 'Twas the Night Before Christmas socks. I want to knit those for the Christmas Eve cast on. I have a skein of Peepaloo Fields that I think would be great with that pattern. It's really subtly speckled. I think it would look nice. Ella, she found somebody's sock. It's a sports sock, and I don't even know if it's my son's. Might be his friend's. Earlier she was throwing it up in the air and catching it and galloping like a horse through the living room, and I didn't stop her because I was doing this. So I'm gonna be buying a new pair of socks. So I want to do the Christmas Eve cast on. What are you guys gonna do? Or are you going to learn something new? Is it craft related? Is it, you know, you may not be a knitter watching. I can't imagine you watching this if you're not a knitter, honestly. My own family members that know I'm doing this, that watch it, they fast forward through all this, basically. When they see me talking, looking at the camera, fast forward. I said, I fast forward through the knitting stuff. I'm thinking, it's 4 minutes long. How do you watch any of it, you know? But if you aren't a knitter, what are your goals? And even as knitters, like I said, I don't have a lot of knitting goals, but I do have personal goals. What are y'all's goals? Are you trying to do something for your health? Learn something new? I don't know. I'm interested if you comment. I take this a lot, especially when I have, like, you know, I feel a little sick in my stomach or sinus drainage, and that makes me sick in my stomach. This calms it pretty well.